Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts, Jarrett Seifert and Jonathan Young.
All right. Got it?
Okay, just me.
No, I'm coming. You know? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bombs Away. Let's make some noise.
On a stage again, once a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, what'd you think of Demolition Man?
'Twas a movie.
It was a bit insane.
We didn't want to burden you with another Christmas movie for the month of December, so we were like, something to really get you out of that mindset.
And yet people are disappointed. They're like, why not Jingle All the Way? And I was like, well,
okay, Jingle All the Way.
Don't defend it.
I am trying to, but I can't.
No, you can't.
But I want to.
Yeah, of course. Everybody does. And we're about a year away from something, say, like that fits the bill, like Ghostbusters 2, you know, anything like that. So I picked this one just because I was like, well, there's ice and there's like frozen things. Yeah.
All right, but like,
what?
Batman and Robin has it.
Yeah, it does, and maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
So, but for this movie,
the movie that made me gay.
There's really
Batman and Robin that made so many people gay. You haven't heard about this? Chris O'Donnell?
No.
Oh, he turned all of us.
Oh.
See, even people in the audience are
Oh,
like,
I thought he was gay. I thought that's what you were saying.
we all wanted him to be.
Oh. It's those nipples.
Yeah.
It's those fat nipples.
It was more than the nipples,
Yeah.
trust me.
So, you know how we start this.
With a prayer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Please
We already did
God.
that back there. You know what to ask.
Do we have taglines?
We do.
I'm so glad I remembered
Yeah.
that.
The future isn't big enough for the both of them.
Well, we're both on stage, so.
Yeah. The 21st century's most dangerous cop, the 21st century's most ruthless criminal. That they know of. There's got to be somebody on the other end of the world,
Yeah.
right?
It's not like it's like just Jeffrey Dahmer
Right.
plotting around.
Okay, next one. In the year 2032, Simon Phoenix escapes from prison on the verge of bringing crime to San Angeles. One man is back to the duty as a last resort. They call him the Demolition Man.
That's not a tagline. That's a synopsis.
Yeah, that's the back of the VHS box, I think.
I was like, that's...
I was like, this has gone on way too long
Yeah.
already. Next, in the 21st century, the police aren't equipped to handle this kind of violence. John Spartan isn't equipped to handle this kind of peace and harmony.
It's like still a synopsis.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a continuation
Yeah.
of what I just read
It's like
before.
a nice little like, we shortened it.
And the last one, if you were thinking about shortening things, think again. In the 21st century, the police aren't...
Don't even finish it. Like, in the 21st century, we know. Please, I honestly am like, skip it.
I have to.
You don't.
And
It's our podcast, our rules. Literally, like, there's no...
do you guys want to hear it? All right.
I'm disappointed.
In the 21st century, the police aren't equipped to handle Simon Phoenix. Their only chance has a name, John Spartan. But he and the 21st century...
There's a but.
But are he and the 21st century equipped to handle each other?
It didn't get better.
No, it didn't. And here's your stats, ladies and gentlemen. With a budget of $57 million estimated, an opening weekend USA gross of $15.9 million, a USA world gross of $58 million, and a worldwide gross of $159 million. So that's a financial success for here on the show.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Money.
Right. It's all that Taco Bell tie-in. With 10 deaths by gunshot, 2 explosions, 1 crush of the rib cage, 1 injection gun to the skull, 1 loose eyeball, 1 pair of breast, and 1 frozen head crush, with 20 murder-death kills in total.
MDK.
With a 6.6 on IMDb, a 34 Metacritic score, and a 61% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 1993's Demolition Man. Make some noise and let's drop some bombs!
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
Fuck you!
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
He doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells.
He's finally matched his meat. You really licked his ass.
I mean, Boney, the wild mambo, the hunka chunker.
Let's go blow this guy.
Away. Blow this guy away.
Whatever.
So, as you can notice, there are 2 chairs tonight. We have 2 special guests. Not since Miami Connection has this happen. I wanted to get a little bigger, a little crazier, since this was a big, epic scale of a movie. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first guest tonight, he works with us. Both of the gentlemen work with us, and we wanted to reach out to some friends, some family, and say, hey, will you join us on the show? So, first up, please welcome to the stage, Mr. Vicente Morales.
Yeah! Vicente Morales.
I know, right?
You did say
the
it
applause.
right, but
I did.
the audience needs to know.
The applause.
Yeah, pick
That's
one
right.
up. Just right off the stage.
Isn't
Real
it weird? The
professional
applause
here.
like dies before you can even make
Hello,
it
everybody.
up the aisle.
Thank you for coming out and seeing us all. I know it's late, but we really appreciate it.
Yeah, so next guest, start running down the aisle right now. Because our next guest joining us tonight, you're supposed to be doing it already. You're not all the way down. You're going so slow.
I think you need to hurry up.
Is Tyler Rowe. We texted each other about wearing all black and gray, and Tyler didn't get the memo, and don't look at my socks. They're green.
I fucked up.
So, gentlemen, going down the line.
He's wearing his Mac and Me outfit.
I found the most Taco Bell looking shirt I could find.
It
in
is.
My,
That was
in
their
my
very
wardrobe.
much like their
Yeah, I would have to agree, yeah.
Like
They're-
1990s Taco Bell Pizza Hut combination restaurant.
Taco Hut,
Taco Hut.
Pizza Bell.
Yeah, the
It just
Hut.
it looks like you pulled your bed sheets off and just put them on.
Those are Bugs Life, so it wouldn't fit this.
No, those would have stuck to him too much.
So, first impressions. We'll go down the line here. Tyler, first impressions of the movie. What'd you think?
You guys smell that? Smells like someone took a shit in this theater.
Really?
No, that's just the theater.
That's just Santa Ana. No,
That is
No,
You
I
made
love that
enemies
movie.
in the first 2 minutes.
Go
of
back
being
to
on
Fremont,
stage.
okay?
Bay Area represent. No, this movie is rough. That's all I have to say about it.
Really? You did? So you're right out the bat saying not a fan.
I've seen this movie twice now, and the first time I stopped in the middle and watched Gremlins 2 instead. And I really wish I could have stopped in the middle and watched Gremlins 2 again.
True story.
Very true story, yeah.
That's insane. Show of hands. How many people had seen this movie before? Okay,
Oh, man.
about the majority. Okay, yeah. I should have
like a
asked
nice-
who hasn't. Who hasn't? Okay,
Kinda
yeah.
half and half.
Right. Who remembers this movie from seeing it before? Like, okay. That's the key here. Like, he's like, I remember it. It's a part. Like for me, it's a part of my childhood. It definitely like I was 10
Explains
years
a
old when
lot.
it came out. It explains a
You
lot.
came out at 10?
Yeah.
Jealous.
Pretty delayed
when
birth.
was
To
it,
this
man?
movie, you know.
What was the release date?
The release date for it?
Yeah.
It was summer of 1993.
Oh, sweet. I was
Yeah.
like 4 months old.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Vicente, what'd you think?
I love this movie. And like you said, it's part of my childhood. I remember I pirated the movie right off the TV, my combination TV VCR. Yeah,
See,
man.
there's some people out there that
Yeah,
definitely
come
remember
on, that's
that.
what I would do. I was
What
all like,
home video did you accidentally record over?
It was a job training video from my mom's job. Really?
You're like, she doesn't need to know.
Yeah, and she just had a box of them lying around, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put some tape on it, and then I'm like, okay. I told my brother, it's like, it's time. You know, you get the, you know, the other show. You get
It's
Seinfeld.
time. We need to move on from Mom's last job.
you know, you get the Seinfeld credits in the beginning of the movie, and then you're like, okay. Now they switch from there, and Channel 5 News, it's like a shooting is going on. It's like, okay, just get off the screen. I want to start seeing Sylvester Stallone is about to get frozen into an ice cube.
So basically, you wait, no, yeah. So you watched, you taped over like violence, and basically you didn't know when the movie started because this movie is just LA's on fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's the same thing.
It's I don't know if it's like the LA riots or I'm watching a documentary. It's actually the same thing.
Yeah, and that's how I want to start. Is that LA in just 3 years of this movie coming out, and then the date that this movie is, they imagine that all of LA is just in flames.
Yeah.
But also, like, movie premieres are still happening in the background with the searchlights and everything happening.
Yeah, sounds like a month ago.
Yeah.
We're living it every day, man. We're catching on fire.
The movie like didn't plan out its timeline really well, to where they were like, in 3 years we'll probably be on fire.
Well, I mean, I can't blame them. There's a lot of stuff happening in '93. I guess
really
they have
weird Rodney King documentary. I was in Missouri and like not born yet during that time, so I don't know what happened.
I also
I remember seeing the flames.
He was here. It's fine.
I also like the idea that in this timeline, the story that they tell is, okay, this movie came out in '93, right? Which meant the Northridge quake was in '92, right? Is that correct?
No. Goes, no.
Well, tell me. I'm not from here. What is it? Is it 94?
Okay, just
so
so
it
we
hadn't
know,
happened
Maryland,
yet.
Missouri,
No.
California.
Got it. Okay.
Northern California, okay? Make the distinction. Okay?
All right.
Because I found it
Sorry,
interesting.
Your state's too big to compensate.
I found it interesting. I found it interesting that they were like predicting like the big one of 2010, like later on in the film.
Yeah.
And I had thought that they had just went through one. So I'm just stupid.
No, they had 89, Loma Prieta.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not a quakeologist. I don't know these things.
Yeah, earthquake historians in the audience.
Yeah.
Well, when you're at that, you might as well throw out 1903 San Francisco. I can just keep on going. You want to keep going?
But what was the big one before that?
1906, it just got corrected.
Yeah.
See?
Vicente doesn't like San Francisco. He just wants it to crumble.
What are you talking about? My sister goes to San Francisco.
She goes to
Yeah.
San Francisco. She visits.
This
She goes to school.
this has
there
gone
you
off
go.
the rails so fast.
Just like this movie that constantly shows
Okay,
streetcar
hold on.
trolley
Hold
rails.
on. So we
but-
start off the movie, and then the Hollywood sound's on fire.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking that everybody's like Instagram picture's not gonna work, and the little Hollywood trail, little hike is.
Well, I mean, it's
over.
like 2 years
Oh,
ago. when
Runyon's
they, like,
done.
They
Yeah.
redid the Hollywood sign to say Hollyweed. That was like 2 years ago, almost exactly. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God, you don't remember? Well, you're NorCal, so forget you.
Yeah.
No, I remember it.
Yeah,
What
that
do you-
was like New Year's 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 New Years ago.
I'm trying to figure
two
out
New
the point
Years
that
ago?
you're getting to.
Because they were lighting it up. Hollyweed. Whoop.
Got
Light
it.
Guys, come on, be quicker.
So,
Follow
okay.
my ADD brain.
All right. Anyway, so basically, we are introduced to our hero, John Spartan, right? Who is what, a hero? He's our hero. Like he saves 2032. I'll tell you that. That place is going to shit. And so he immediately just has a hunch. This cop hunch. It's a cop thing, and he comes in a helicopter. And
Oh, did he clean up after?
and he proceeds to bungee jump out of the helicopter in one of my favorite moments, in which he doesn't. It's not really a bungee. He just comes out of the hatch, goes Phoenix, and then falls to the ground. It does not bounce up.
He lands fucking hard. He broke his ankles on that landing.
Did
He's
he collect
dead on
his
that
duffel
building.
bag that he chucked out the window?
I didn't see him chuck a thing out the window at all.
It was like
No, he was
tethered to
he
his
was a
bungee
flying
cord,
spirit,
and
so
he was just like,
he had this like overhead. He just had to throw it out.
he's
So
like, I'll get the guns on the way down.
So immediately he just hits the ground. He like pulls a drawstring and just keeps killing, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then he just like kind of just runs through the building and nonstop is just knocking people out. And I have these questions of certain things about 96 LA. One,
like, if you were a henchman, would you want to be one that gets like violently killed or like just kind of lightly knocked out? Because those are the only two options.
You don't fire your weapon and he won't fire at you.
Yeah, but like it's always like I either like murder you violently or I'm just kind of like and you're knocked out.
Well,
those are the only two options.
I saw a poor guy,
henchmen.
he was probably just looking the other way and he got kidney punched. He just straight out got kidney punched and then just hit in the elbow and passed out.
That's what I want.
Like you did to me earlier.
Also, I want to go back to the idea that why can't commercial airlines fly in LA anymore?
Oh.
Anti-aircraft fire, I guess. Like, what is happening in this timeline?
It's a smog situation. They can't see through the air.
It's a smog world after all.
And then so when he gets to Phoenix, Phoenix has this like kind of diatribe about like, I warned them. The fire department figured it out. The post office figured it out. But the goddamn bus drivers couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, what? What are these bus drivers like? I gotta stay on my route. I gotta go. Like, I don't understand why he was able to hijack a bus that's coming into South Central. Like, how they weren't staying out of this. If commercial airlines are not flying because of anti-aircraft fire, why are buses?
No anti-bus fire guns. Idiot.
Bus fire?
Yeah, that bus driver wanted to save the environment, man. He's got to keep to his route, man.
Yeah.
Get those people moving.
Yeah. It's like people have places to be, guys.
That's
Come on,
true.
Let's go.
Okay. So
I was just in love with this Beetlejuice pants. I was like, woo,
Yeah,
get it.
Beetlejuice pants.
So
I wrote that down actually, word for word. Beetlejuice pants.
Yeah.
What are your notes?
You've been to Saturn. I've been to Saturn. Saturn's hate him, right?
So he proceeds to get into a fight with John Spartan.
He did?
He did what?
Get in a fight with John Spartan?
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I didn't. You're going all over my head tonight. So, he proceeds to get in a fight with John Spartan, and then he's trying to free the hostages, right? Unbeknownst to him, the hostages are long dead, right? But that's a good reveal in the movie.
Spoilers.
That's a good reveal, I think, later on in the film.
We all just watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh, God, we're
but
here.
even
Whoa.
in that whole sequence, the entire setup of how the movie's going to end, the whole foreboding and stuff like that. Is,
Yeah.
Well, but this is also the point to where it's like, it's 1996 in their timeline to where it's like, they should be able to tell if a body died by fire explosion or like before that, to where they're just like, you killed 30 people, to where it's like, he probably didn't if they all have their throats slashed.
Yeah, I mean, or
Like
gunfire.
no one, like
I
did
think they
forensics
downsized
not
the CSI.
exist in 1939? Well, not in 1933,
I'm
but
not
in
a criminologist, I don't
1993. That's an actual thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So now the building explodes. He rescues Phoenix because even a hero has to rescue the bad guy, I guess.
Batman.
Yeah, he's got that clause. And that's when the police chief from Lethal Weapon shows up.
Yeah, playing my favorite character, Exposition Man, steps into frame.
Who says Demolition Man.
Yeah, listen, you can't keep doing this, John Spartan.
I'm getting tired of you.
Demolition Man.
Just looks at the screen. I'm tired of this Demolition Man shit. And yeah, but it's literally the same. He's playing the same character as he does for
He's
Riggs and
basically
Murtaugh.
screaming. He's just screaming at him.
Yeah.
And then the same guy who's the helicopter pilot is Johnson from Die Hard. He's the FBI agents, Johnson, no relation.
Yeah.
He's in the helicopter. So
Yeah.
it's like, I feel like everybody would just go, hey, you did Die Hard, right? Yeah, you did Lethal Weapon, right? You want to be in another movie, Stallone? Yeah, sure, why not?
Oh, yeah, just like back in Nam. I was 8, you dick. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So he's the same, which blew my mind. I did not really register it that character is the same as the old man later. That's like tells
Zachary
the-
Lamb. You didn't know that was Zachary
I
Lamb?
didn't know that it was the same character because it does not translate well on screen. I found out via IMDb that it said like old,
Old Zachary Lamb.
yeah, and young Zachary Lamb. You figured that out? I didn't figure that out.
I had no clue.
Yeah,
I
had
was
no
just
idea.
wondering why he was talking to him as a pilot and telling him in a rookie. I was like,
That's how I kind of
that's gonna play out later.
Right.
I was all like, what?
yeah. So they sentence him immediately to cryo prison.
Which is why I'm like, why didn't you think about the bodies and how they died?
But it's crazy because it's the first time in history that a cop was held accountable for the actions that he partook in.
And it was the only time in history.
Yeah, it was the only time, too.
Oh.
You don't laugh, but we're right.
and so they go on to sentence him to what, like over 70 years, right?
Yeah.
Incarcerated.
Yeah.
And they freeze him. You can't have your clothes on.
Yeah, just dick and balls
just
out.
80 dicks just frozen all throughout the prison.
You know,
Oh, we
Stallone had
see
a
some-
clause in his contract where he was like,
No, but I'm just
"Yeah,
wondering
show me
that,
naked."
did they let like John Spartan do like one last like workout to get that pump going?
Right.
You know, before he goes into the tank, he's like, I need to be jacked.
I
Let me
just
get
love
it.
All these guys are gonna see me naked. I need to be jacked right now.
Let me get in that tank with a half chub.
I love all the poses that they all did, and I'm just waiting for the one gay guy that's like full asshole to everyone, like, you like it?
And
But Stallone was just full shaft. 'Cause
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what we got.
well,
Oh,
if you
could
notice,
see it.
they hide it with the credit sequence.
No,
Not well.
No, it's after the credit sequence is when you see the most shaft.
Right, but like
It's like it's when they're de-thawing him. It's like,
yeah. No,
and you
there's
don't.
a,
It's like this much on the screen, which is probably like 8 feet in real life.
you know
But
that
you still don't see a head. Like,
Wait,
I was
wait,
like
it's-
Stallone, but
it-
I had also already looked up his nude pics.
You-
'cause
you
we
know
all
that,
know
like,
they
that,
exist. He was in porn.
they hit you with that porn angle, the under the balls angle, where they're like
Oh,
sweeping
you see
underneath
his balls
it.
when he's like, "Oh no, I'm being frozen."
Yeah, it's like,
like
whoa.
he doesn't know he's getting frozen. Like,
This is
"Oh,
a different
shut
movie than
up."
I was expecting, but count me in.
well, the Demolition Man is in.
Oh, he's gonna demolish something.
Wreck this.
Wreck these walls, Demolition Man.
so, so the
You're gonna miss it.
so the movie just goes on into
So the movie is less gay after this, is what Jonathan just said.
depends on your perspective,
Oh,
but
it's very gay.
it then just the time jumps to 2032.
Yeah, but before I was like, did you see the date that he got frozen? It's like November 20th. So it's like they couldn't even wait for Thanksgiving. So
Right.
they did. You know, he
You
didn't
want
get to
to
see the
feast?
holidays.
Nope. You gotta look.
It's
thin
like
for
everybody
that
was like,
ice.
let's freeze these guys before the holidays. I don't want the
I
paperwork.
feel like there is no Thanksgiving anymore because what are you going to get
Well,
served?
there's not even Thanksgiving today, man.
Oh,
It
oh
jumps
look
from
at the
Halloween
glorious
to
crunch wrap
Christmas.
that we got served. So,
Well, that's like,
yeah.
I was just gonna say food, glorious food,
Okay.
which like they do quote in this film, like "Hello, Oliver."
They do.
Right. That's just it. That was. I didn't want to go into it, but sure.
So we're introduced to Sandra Bullock's character, which Sandra Bullock is adorable in this film, by the way. Right?
With what eyebrows?
Yeah.
She's still adorable.
You mean the chola eyebrows?
yeah.
Chola
She's
eyebrows.
Constantly like surprised
And
about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I meant like her character, like her everything she's doing. Like it's so innocently adorable to
See,
me.
I had a hard time with this movie because of her character, to where it's like robotic voice about everything being overly articulate, but being a positive tone. To where it was like,
That was way more sass than she gave.
yeah, I know. That's my own nature. Sorry.
No, one of the biggest problems with her character, we'll talk about later, is just like single-handedly being the smartest person, but also being like the dumbest person. Like,
She was
knows everything, but then, like, when it's convenient, doesn't know shit.
Oh, like she doesn't like she knows what sex is, but also is like, what are you doing? What's happening? It's like, he's about to rape you. That's what's happening.
The 100% like fact in both of or in all of this is that she's obsessed with violence, but doesn't know what like a murder, kill, death, murder, death, kill, which is like you would think death would be the final part of it.
Well,
like,
that's my
murder,
question.
Death, kill? Do you
Like-
die then kill? Or do
No,
you die
that's
and then get killed?
that was the subtleness about it, because it seems like in this possible future, euthanasia is accepted because he's like, there has not been an unsanctioned death since a certain amount of time. So it sounds like everybody is allowed, if they want to end their lives, they can legally.
And that's my biggest concerns. That's my biggest questions here when it comes to this Cocteau universe that's been created. Is like, is this only within the whole Metroplex? Or is this the whole? Has he done this to the whole world? Because he only seems like a mayor. Really.
Are you going like a full like Mega City 1 Judge Dredd thing? Like the rest of the United States is a wasteland? And
I don't know because we never see outside of the Santa Barbara, Los Angeles, San Diego Metroplex. Which, Jesus Christ, if LA wasn't already big enough.
Well, maybe after the earthquake, those are the only freeways that survived. So everybody was like, I'm not doing it.
There was like, so they show the map and there's like a massive lake in the middle to where I was just like, you just took the map of San Francisco and brought it down. Like, that's all it looked like. It just looked like the San Francisco harbor.
Or maybe after the quake, the rest of the country fell off.
Whoa!
So what, you have a whole Escape from LA scenario?
Yeah, but in reverse. In reverse.
Get to LA.
The rest of the country is a prison, which, I don't know, that's what it feels like already. Just a hellscape. So, What I'm just confused about is that they're like, oh, we don't know what a murder, death, kill is. We don't know what Code 187 is.
But
like,
she's obsessed with violence.
Right.
How does she not know this? Where she's like, Siri, can you tell me about this? And Siri's like, okay, it's murder, death, kill. And she's like, what?
Yeah. They're all so
She's
shocked.
literally got a Lethal Weapon poster on her, like, office wall.
Well, it's not that she doesn't know what she just doesn't know what the code is. She knows what murder is.
Even when it says, like, the code, she's like, oh, my God.
How'd she pass the police academy then?
Well, that's what I'm saying. What is this training? Like, they're not trained to handle anything. They're not trained. What are they trained to do, and why do they even exist if this is a sterile world that nothing happens?
I mean,
what are they doing every day?
The hot chip brings it up.
What?
That was just a joke about the hot chick.
Oh, God, you're bringing my favorite
You're
character
bringing
in.
Rob Schneider into it?
Fuck Rob Schneider.
He's
Jesus
like,
Christ.
Oh, God.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm trying to dig down into. Like, we know the obvious of, like, yes, they're not trained to do this, but why and how is this a possibility in this world? Is this a situation in which the rest of the country doesn't murder either?
No, because I mean, it's later on in the film, but he mentions that, like, his whole plan is to, like, show how the society works, and then he can take over the rest. He says it later on in the film.
With his bushy-ass eyebrows? No, thank you.
You have a problem with the eyebrows in this film.
I really do.
Okay, so they're
all bad.
So you're saying that the San Angeles Metroplex is a secluded environment.
Yeah, it's like a prototype city
So
of
how
tomorrow.
the fuck do they not know about the rest of murder, death, kill, and everything? That's what I'm talking about.
They're, like, isolated.
Like, Vegas still has to exist.
Well, it's
gotta
like
be death there.
Dennis Leary playing Dennis Leary in this movie.
Oh,
He
everybody's
said it
just
himself.
allowed to write their own lines in this movie.
He said it himself. He's all like, I'm the enemy because I like to read.
How's it going over there, guys? Having your own conversation? Yeah?
I mean, he said it himself.
Having a second podcast over
Yeah,
here.
he says it himself. You know, he's like a podcast within a podcast.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just confused as to, like, why people are still talking. That's so basically, Denis Leary, you're saying, is basically playing himself, right?
Yeah, he just walked on stage.
Yeah.
He didn't shower for 3 days, and they're like, go.
And he's just doing lines from his own stand-up bit, right? He's doing the same thing, being like, I want to talk the way I want to talk, I want to fuck the way I want to fuck, I want to live the way I want to live, smoke a cigarette, right? And he's doing the same thing that he's always done, right? He's done the same thing he's doing here as Rescue Me, as The Ref, one of my favorite Christmas movies, and I feel like him, and we'll get into it, how Wesley Snipes is just throwing out meta one-liners the whole movie, and everything down to like President Schwarzenegger is a giant meta reference. I feel like everybody was just allowed to throw in whatever jokes and whatever lines they wanted to, as long as we got through the plot along the way, right? So, moving on with the plot, Wesley Snipes has been released from cryo prison in order to do his parole, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, it's a plot from Cocteau to release the exact person he wants to, and he's going to be able to be released. But my question is, so every single person is coded, right? Now, so why aren't prisoners immediately coded before they're even given parole?
So they even say this in the movie, that he was frozen before they coded them.
Right.
And then before he was released, they didn't have the wherewithal to code them. And then so after Sylvester Stallone was released, they were like, code him immediately because, whoa, we just lost one.
Right. And that's what I mean, is like, why wasn't this just a process that anytime somebody comes out for parole?
Because they're super stupid.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
They're
The
like
the
dumb.
password to
Nothing
get,
bad
to get
happens
out,
in L.A.
The password to get out was teddy bear. How threatening are these people? Come
That
on,
says
man.
how dumb they were.
What were the rejected passwords? I want to know.
Password, not too weak.
Poopy.
Autumn butterfly. I don't know.
Autumn butterfly. That would have been a good one.
So, also, like you said, Huxley is obsessed with the 20th century, right? And even her partner says, hey, you're breaking ordinance like 22 or something, right? And why are they allowing her to get away with it if she's a police officer and has an entire office that is breaking some sort of code?
Have you seen police officers get away with things before?
I also just think
Kind
that
of common.
I also think that this society is just so passive aggressive as well that you don't want to even tell her, hey, you're kind of breaking the law.
Like,
Right.
We don't want to deal with it.
You know, just keep doing what you do.
So, he breaks out. He breaks out of prison.
Oh, I know that situation. Sorry, breakout situation.
Right.
Just me and my bad skin.
And from there, he begins to go on a murderous rampage, kills 4 people in the prison, and then goes to this, like, don't kill yourself booth?
It reminded me so much of the suicide booth from Futurama.
Yeah.
It's like, I just don't feel appreciated, really.
I was like, you're not.
You're a happy person.
You are bringing happy, joy feelings to everyone around you.
Also,
Joy, happy,
okay,
joy.
speaking of joy feelings, what is with, like, the overtly long workaround to, like, words that we already knew existed and, like, was a faster way of saying things? Like, enhance your comm, or protect serve, or, you know, I have the utmost trust confidence in you. What the hell is this world? What is this world in which we have backtracked and, like, instead of like, hey, calm down, it's like, enhance your comm. What is this?
It's like a suggestion. It's much less aggressive. It's that's straight what it is. It's like, please enhance your calm. Instead of like, hey, chill out.
It's
hey,
less commanding.
Take a step back and, like, look at what's going on right now.
I think the one that got me the most was, like, she goes, no need to give me a de-hurtful retraction. And I was like, what? Like, even I had to rework the word and be like, what did she just say?
It was someone, like, politely rejecting you.
Yeah.
You should have understood that.
Yeah, no, that's
My God.
my whole goddamn life.
Super like.
So also, why are he's working on this computer at this booth? Why are all the computers look like just things that Steve Jobs was working on after he was let go from Apple?
Even then, like, also, like, the sad thing is, in the future, everything takes so long where they were like, things will just go at the same speed that we have now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like his
Like,
hacking.
can you get me some information, Siri? He's at the corner of Wabash and Washington. And it's like, oh, so they can change the name of, like, 8 places into one place, but they can't change, like, the street names?
They're still running on dial-up in the future.
So Wesley Snipes gets into a fight with a bunch of completely just they're horrible cops. Like they have no idea how to do. They're running like the first iPad on how to
kind of
protect
similar
serve.
to.
Okay, I'm gonna mention it
2-on-2.
now. I know that fight, but I'm gonna mention it. What's up with his theme music?
Oh, the DJ is scratching while you fight.
What's up? It's just like
Yeah.
Who's scratching there? Who's DJing?
It was
thinking
a,
Wesley Snipes gonna walk around the whole movie.
I was sitting next to someone and they said, "What is this breakdance music?" They're like, he should have just spun on his head and kicked 8 cops at once.
But you bring up that fight scene, and it has one of my favorite moments from this movie is the cop who literally has the motivation of go ahead and just make it very obvious you're backing up to this wall right here, and just stand against this spiked wall. That's cool.
Which
Good.
we've already established is a wall that has poles that come out and take care of graffiti. Which, going back to that, why the hell would you waste paint, time, effort, and everything to spray onto an anti-graffiti wall knowing it'll immediately get taken off?
To set up a death 20 minutes later.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all a plot device, man. They couldn't do that fight scene without that. Come on.
Some dude just came off a cocaine binge, just kicked the door and was like, "Hey, okay, there's a wall and it has spikes, all right?" And they're like,
But they are electrified.
"How do we explain
super
that?"
spikes.
Somebody does graffiti on the wall, and it gets it off the wall.
He was explaining it
brilliant.
on his come down.
Yeah.
He was like,
I didn't think I'd get this far. Shit.
didn't realize I'd be in the office right now.
So this fight happens, and Huxley basically asks for more
Dialogue?
Sorry, not
What?
dialogue.
He asked for more dialogue, but the movie didn't give it to him.
No, exposition. She asked for more exposition.
Oh, yeah. And then
right?
another exposition man
Yeah.
steps in.
And what I find is interesting about this one is that he says that it took a 12-state manhunt, but yet he just had a hangout over in South Central. He was just there and declared don't come into my area. Why did it take a 12-state manhunt when we knew where he was?
Maybe he had doppelgangers. Woo, I'm over here. I dyed my hair kind of yellow.
Yeah, I mean, he had a doppelganger playing for the Bulls, so it was really tough to figure out who he was.
I like
really.
the shout out to Unsolved Mysteries though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
An Unsolved Mysteries episode.
All right,
it's
old
not
guy,
a
no,
mystery.
no,
We know who it is and where
He says it himself. I'm Simon Phoenix. Here's my address. Please don't come.
I rule South Central now.
Yeah.
That's basically what he declares in the beginning of the film.
Yep.
Did not take did he start out small in the first 12 states and just work his way up to being king of South Central now?
Start out in Rhode Island.
So
Easy.
they release John Spartan in order to combat this problem. And this is where
I realized that this is where Austin Powers got it from.
yeah.
I was watching it and I was like, I love it even more, Austin Powers. This is an amazing film.
Well, even to the point where they didn't show it, but they reference it being oh, he must have been all thawed out because he's been in the bathroom for a while.
Evacuation, come. Evacuation, come. Come. Evacuation, come. Come.
Are we doing this whole thing?
Yeah, I will.
He goes to the bathroom, right? And this is, the setup for he doesn't know 3 seashells. I'm Rob Schneider.
Which pisses
joke.
me off that they don't explain the goddamn 3 seashells.
But
Are you supposed to scoop the poop and then rinse? I don't know.
There's probably somebody out there who figured out the dynamics of it. I don't want to see that diagram.
Does
does
anybody know?
I think it's
Is it like a bidet? It's 3 buttons?
Hold on. I'm going to ask all of you. Go. What do you think?
I think it's one to scoop the poop, a second one to super scoop, and then a third one to scoop the poop off the other poop scoopers.
Okay. What do you
Yeah,
got?
I was gonna go with that with Jared. It's
okay, so it's just a scooper pooper situation.
Yeah, it's like a
For
cold
both of you.
stone sort of thing where you you're kind of scraping it all off, smashing it together,
On the marble slabs.
know.
What mix-in do you want?
and then you're
You want a gotta have it size?
yeah, then you gotta kind of chuck it into the toilet.
Oh, you don't need peanuts. It's already there.
What do you got?
I literally think it was like a bidet system because they look inset, later on when they show them, so it looked like buttons. So it's like one to spray your butt.
That's what I always thought as a kid.
And also, are they chrome plated?
Yes.
That's
hell yeah.
uncomfortable. That's just cool.
So
Haven't you seen SpongeBob? The future's chrome.
So I have an official explanation that came from the director.
No.
Mm-hmm. Did we get that slide?
No.
Oh my God!
So, step 1. Take 2 of the seashells and place them between your fingers to be used like chopsticks.
Oh, that's delicious right there.
Using the 2 seashells, gently pull on feces to remove them from your posterior until bowels have been completely emptied. So pick the shit out of your rectum.
They can't push?
Using the 3rd seashell, scrape away any fecal remnants from your posterior.
Okay, we were right.
And then deposit all the 3 seashells in the toilet and flush. We're flushing metal seashells down the toilet.
Disposable?
Is this toilet like a garbage disposal now? I mean, just grind up everything? What are we doing here?
I don't see. This is that whole
like
workaround of being like, why are you making things harder in the future?
Does their butthole not push in the future?
I think so.
Also,
well,
I mean,
you're not allowed meat, remember? So like, you're probably getting real backed up in there.
No, if you're not allowed meat, you should be like,
yeah, maybe.
It's like soft
Got your
serve in that,
butthole. Yeah.
that shell.
you don't need to pull
Gotta have it.
anything out. Like,
I mean, what's the firmest consistency you have to be able to pull that out like that?
He's
never
clenched
had to
hard, too, in that
forcibly
diagram.
pull poop out of my butt.
Well, that's Stallone's butt.
Also, I love how angry that butt is. That butt's like,
But here's my main complaint with the 3 seashells scene, right? He walks out of there and he's like, you're all out of toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
Did he walk out there with a shitty ass? Did he walk in that room full of people with just poop all over his butt and was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I shit my pants.
Yeah, he hasn't shit in 30 years.
I don't
and
know
he's
how to
like,
tell you
"Oh,
this,
whatever."
but it's not me, it's Rob Schneider.
and then also, okay, with the cussing, the only thing I'm going to address to it is everyone gets fined just like 1 whatever for cussing. But then at the start, Sandra Bullock is like, ass, and it's like 0.5.
Yeah, half
shilling.
credit. Half credit for ass.
Yeah, but it escalates. The more you say it, they show that with Simon Phoenix. The more you say it, then eventually the police come.
So is it like...
Well, by the second one. So
Yeah.
if you're on like a rant, like you're done.
Ah, fuck shit.
By the time
like,
he gets
we're
to the
on the
bathroom,
way.
all the cops in the station like kick the door open. He's just like wiping with the things.
No, they
He's like,
don't know
"What
how
the
to
fuck?"
kick. They can't kick.
Also, before we move on from this, so is it just a stack of seashells that like replenish as you take one off?
Yeah,
It's
and
the
so why
future,
is there
yeah.
3?
So it's like... So let me understand.
2 to pull, 1 to wipe.
Wait,
Yes, but you could just keep pulling.
Explained it, Tyler. Look at the slide.
You've already soiled 2. So you need a clean one. It's like a clean sheet.
If you
saying
use
is they
more
keep
than
coming
3,
up.
So like it's like I have company over. Hey, did you put the 3 shells out?
Yeah,
So I
but-
only have 2.
But anybody
They
who
can't take a shit. They only have 2.
Right, anybody who knows that, you know, if it's a difficult time in there, knows you need more than 3 seashells even.
Also, like, what do you do, like, for women?
oh,
like,
Jesus.
wiping
well,
the
that's
front.
that's clam
They don't.
shells.
They just air dry.
You're like, all right. I peed, and I still have to take more time than a poop.
And on the topic again of coming out of the bathroom with a poopy butt. Listen, I've been in the bathroom where there's no toilet paper, and it is panic-inducing. And he came out so calm, cool, and collected. I've sat there for like 5 minutes, like, what am I gonna do?
In full uniform.
Like, do I
mean-
get up and do I go, like, do I pull everything up? Do I go to the paper towel dispenser?
Yeah,
and then
it
go
happened to
back
me-
in? What if someone else is in here and, like, sees me
in
walking with
the
paper
middle
towels?
of Disneyland, no toilet paper. And it was full of people in that bathroom. And I was like, oh, God, I can't go get a paper towel. Go back in this bathroom. Everyone's going to know.
Unhappiest place on earth.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Never even wiped.
It's a
just
nightmare
left.
after all.
So
I mean, so it's like, are there like ritual clam bakes where they just like exterminated all the clams in
Do
the
you think they
world
can make
or something?
pearls?
I
You know
don't
what I'm
think.
saying?
No, I think they're metal. I think the seashells are like
Then
manufactured
how the hell
metal.
do you flush them down the toilet though?
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
No, I think they're like actual seashells because they have an abundance of them. And now they can just like biodegrade. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's what I'm saying. I can see the
They're
green.
part of
I
nature,
can see
just
the
like our
green
shit.
factor in it, That's why they want to go for it, because it's biodegradable. But I mean, those things are extinct now,
well,
man.
You know what? Let's all be real. It's a gimmick. It's a movie gimmick. Just
You're
being,
right.
Poop.
You're not wrong. But, I mean, just the fact that somebody on the writing staff and the director and everybody was like, yeah,
They
right?
should be murdered.
This will be funny.
Right? It's like they thought it was funny, but yet didn't think it past being like, hey, would this be funny? And he goes, yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if we made this really weird importance of being earnest joke in our movie? Just like this joke that doesn't have an answer at the end. It's just like, oh, what about the 3 seashells? And it's like,
No, he does say, hey, you gotta tell me about those three shells or something like that. I'm like,
again,
okay.
a
That was
shitty,
That was the line for line. That was good.
shitty butt the whole
I
movie.
thought
That's my main complaint.
Yeah, because he still doesn't know how to use it by the end of the movie. That means he was walking around with a shitty asshole the whole movie.
That's how they kept finding him.
I mean, with or without the seashells, he was probably
Both
just
of them.
a shitty asshole throughout the whole movie.
So moving on, Simon Phoenix goes to the Hall of Violence at the museum. He gets a bunch of ammunition, a bunch of
Which I
what?
really hope my museum stocks all my guns with ammunition.
You really glanced over the as if Simon Phoenix wasn't bad enough as being a murderer. He's also just a racist for some reason to those children walking
yeah.
by him.
where he just they pass
I'm
by
not even
and he
gonna
goes,
say it.
"Tick tock gong gong ching tong tong." Like, what is that?
Which, thank you, audience, for going, oh.
I'm glad no one in the audience cheered and everyone was standing up like, yeah, that's good.
Well, because we're used to it in this world now.
Yeah.
Bing bong, bing bing bong.
That was a president reference. He's not just being racist.
And
And I love the giant glass floor that's like, it's a perfect encapsulation of the old LA, where it's like, that's not going to come up in a few seconds.
right. And so John Spartan, immediately just figures it out, which, I mean, I guess it doesn't take a lot of detective work to figure out where he can get a gun.
No, this whole movie doesn't take a lot of detective work. And, I get, it's the trope of it all, where it's like, oh, how did you figure that out? Oh, great job. But it's like, just think with your brain and not with your,
Yeah, but the whole thing is that they're always treating John Spartan like some sort of savage, like he's a Neanderthal, but he's actually the most frustrated character in the entire movie, because he's like, I'm using police work. This is my job. This is use your brain.
Yeah. I don't understand how everyone in this world is supposed to be polite and why is everybody so willing to just downright insult the man who is supposed to be their savior, right?
So mean.
Savage, Neanderthal, caveman.
Well, so, okay.
I like that one.
I was like, oh, okay.
We need to call people caveman more.
We hear you, Tori.
And so they get into a fight. It's another John Spartan versus Simon Phoenix.
What a letdown of a super electromagnetic gun or whatever it was. Where
Yeah.
it does things and takes 8 minutes to charge, and then it's like, pew.
Yeah.
Also, the
It's
aim.
like a sad grenade launcher, a grenade launcher with ED. God.
Come on, guys. You
I
guys
blew up a fire hydrant.
You guys are forgetting the cardinal 90s action rules. None of the debris can hit you. Glass doesn't cut you. A fall more than 3 feet, you just get
speaking
up.
of glass, when
And
he
he gets
shattered
electrocuted.
through that car.
How much? Here's another thing that I started noticing in that movie. How much glass got broken in this movie? It was like every other couple minutes, somebody had to fly through a window, shatter a display, go through a ceiling, go through a glass floor,
It's
or
called
go through a car
drama.
window.
Oh, in the car going
Yeah.
through the
Yeah,
glass.
yeah.
Where it was panes and not what is that, purling glass?
Yeah.
What is it called?
No.
Safety glass.
Safety glass.
Yeah, the safety glass.
Where it was just clearly
plate
sugar
glass.
glass.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
scary. When he
Yeah.
jumps through it, every time I saw that scene, I was like, ooh, because it's just these big chunks of glass when he falls through that car window.
Yeah.
Chunky.
So at this point, he gets away. He tries to fire on Cocteau, who has showed up to the museum, and he can't. Right? We're talking about Wesley Snipes here, and he can't. He pulls the trigger at him, and yet he just misses.
Yeah.
But then when he tries to pull again, he can't even pull. So I'm like, did he not see who he was firing at, but yet somehow still missed?
No, he's got ED.
Nah, that's when Cocteau goes full like Emperor Palpatine. He's
Yeah, he Jedi mind tricked him.
Well, he's dressed like a Jedi the whole movie.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. This movie does that thing that for some reason movies do in future settings where when it's supposed to be a polite society, it's like super racist, but everything is like Japanese.
Well, that's the thing. Also, if you notice, did you notice every single background character was like Asian descent?
Yeah, it's
but
that
there were no actual main characters of
it's
Asian
that weird
descent.
future thing that like
a
lot of movies do.
Racism, great.
Oh, you mean like the secretary assistant in the back of Cocteau that got not one
or
line?
The
she's just standing there.
Waitress in Taco Bell that was just like, they're making jokes. Like,
or all the flamenco dancer, busboys, valets, and waiters.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This is an extremely racist movie that everyone's just like, Sylvester Stallone.
So he does indeed get invited to Taco Bell from saving or pretending. Cocteau pretends he was saved.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I streamed this movie. I didn't get like the version sent to me, and they replaced every single word of Taco Bell with Pizza Hut.
That means you got an international version of it because if you didn't know, Taco Bell is not well known outside of the United States at all, and Pizza Hut is. So this movie, everything about Taco Bell in the international release was changed to Pizza Hut, so as to not confuse people. But everything, the food wasn't.
Everything but the logos on the glass door.
Yeah.
Because when you told me that, I went and watched the scene. You can see this scene on YouTube, by the way, of just like the overdubbing. It's really sloppy too.
It was bad. It was like, and he invited us to Pizza Hut, and he like,
yeah.
And they still eat those weird
he's
chips.
He's like, he invited me to Pizza Hut. I mean, Lord knows I wouldn't mind a pizza. that's what he says.
God, I want a calzone right now.
Yeah. And then as they drive up, you see that little circle of the sign where it should be Taco Bell, and it's just a white Pizza Hut that was overlaid over it. But then once the valets let them out, the doors open up, and the glass doors on the building still say Taco Bell on them. I was like, well, you could have just cut that scene. We didn't need the valet, I guess.
And all the flamenco dancers in a Pizza Hut?
Yeah. So
Taco Bell, not Pizza Hut.
So Denis Leary's underground, the Scraps, interrupt their dinner.
Oh, you mean the Chud?
The Chuds.
the Universal Studios Waterworld show rejects all show up.
I just thought it was the set of Mario Brothers again that they just refurbished. And I thought Dennis Hopper was gonna come around the corner.
Bob Hoskins like, oh shit.
Where's my pizza? And he gets into a fight with these people, and then one of them drops like Taco Bell that's on delivery, which just looks like Flintstone vitamins.
I know, it was like the multivitamin.
I mean, that looked like corn on roids, man. That was just like, I don't know what that was on, but it was like, why would I want like a whole like container full of just kernels?
Right?
Do you pop them? And
maybe they're you put them in water and it's like a dehydrated.
Oh, dehydrated.
Maybe
dehydrated tacos.
Oh, like the little pizza from Back to the Future 2. Rehydrate level 4. Remember?
I never made it that far.
Yeah, I know. That's fine. Moving on. So at this point, Sandra Bullock is like, and you knocked him out, and you killed him, and he was like,
oh, she's like horny.
Yes,
but she doesn't know that word.
Flooded. She saw him kick that guy's ass and was like,
she's like,
you actually,
that
if you
was my
listen closely, it's a weird cue, like in the scene. If you do listen closely, but you can actually hear wet panties just hit the ground in the scene as soon as she's talking about seeing all that violence. He liked it.
And this is the point it's where
I
don't understand this line.
Here's the thing though. In that dinner scene, like everybody's wearing like kimonos and stuff like that, but like Sandra Bullock shows up in this like stone dress.
You ever seen those stone bath mats that people put in their house to like massage your feet? Like
she just looked like a kitchen backsplash.
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
Just looked uncomfortable. Man.
Yeah. I mean, and this is where he's like, people are trying to fight for food, right? And he says this line where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Where he goes, this isn't the Wild West. The Wild West wasn't even the Wild West. And I'm like, what does that mean? I mean,
called the Wild West because it was that.
I felt like he was having an introspective moment.
Yeah.
That I was like,
I mean, it wasn't that wild.
Which is
1996 was fucking crazy. This is not nothing.
Yeah, because he says, these people are just trying to get food. That's not who I am. You arrested 1,000 people in 3 years, and none of them were doing something just to, help their family?
Wait, okay, we do need to go back to that. That's my favorite thing in the entire movie, is that clip of him saving that little girl.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, lady! Which was going to be my intro,
right?
but we just glossed over that.
Yeah, he's gone full mullet in that one, right?
Yeah.
He's got a full mullet in that one.
I love
Fuck
that.
you,
Like
lady.
you just demolished a $6 million building in order to save a girl whose ransom was only $50,000. How do you feel? Fuck you, lady. That was the
girl's
best
like,
thing in the whole movie.
You know that girl went back to her second grade classroom and was like, yeah, I was in a movie, and I said, fuck you.
And
I want to meet her. What's she
Where
doing
is she
today?
now?
Yeah.
Let's look up the IMDb page
Ladies
for
and
that girl
gentlemen,
right
our
now.
special
Now,
guest.
ladies and gentlemen, the fuck
coming
you
from
lady.
back. She's not actually here. I'm sorry. Just kidding. She is. She's in the front row.
Oh my god! In memoriam at the Oscars. The fuck you, girl.
Oh! You just killed her off of real life. How do you do that? How do you live with yourself?
I was going to look it up. I was like, how do I even look for this? The fuck you, girl? I don't know, but let's go on here. They invite her. She invites him back to her room.
Yeah.
And this is a good scene too. This is funny.
The virtual reality sex.
Yeah.
But do you think those are actually Sandra B's boobs?
No, it's a
No, those are
Sandra
stand-ins.
boobies?
I don't think so
those
at
are
all.
stand-ins.
No. I mean,
well,
she was
spoil
still
my fun.
This is like in my memory like her biggest motion picture to date, because this is before Speed. So she's still like trying to come in, because even I watched a clip with Letterman interviewing Sly for this film, right? And Letterman didn't even know like who she was. He's like, "Who's the girl? Sandy something?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's Sandra Bullock." And he's like, I don't okay, roll the clip.
Did you just call Sylvester Stallone Sly?
I did.
That's what he's always called.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Where have I been?
Not watching
I've
his
seen
movies.
his peen before seeing this, and I
Yeah.
didn't know he's called Sly.
My favorite
Nothing
scene, though.
Sly about that dick.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Right as they're about to have sex, I really like that she's like, here, and she like puts this towel on his crotch.
It's his courtesy towel.
You're gonna need to clean up. But yeah, she hands him a towel. She
Also,
puts on her
Gotta
robe.
clean up the mess.
No, but besides that, did you
She's like,
notice?
you're gonna cream.
Also, it's like, were they sitting in kind of like a tub,
No,
just in
it's-
case of a
it's in
drain?
like- it's a sunken floor.
Inset, yeah, it's an inset resting area.
It's very futuristic for the
Yeah.
90s.
I feel like it was more
you know?
like a
which
bathtub,
he like
just when
steps into
you know.
later and shatters.
And also, I know that there's no like crime anymore, but like, are those pagoda doors safe?
no,
They don't seem secure or safe at all, really.
so they have virtual reality sex.
Yeah.
Kinda,
Epilepsy warning, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the
Shit.
Sandra Bullock's rave sex? She's just like,
She's having a good
terrifying.
time. She's and he's like, If you ever wanted to know what Sylvester Stallone's vinegar strokes look like, there you go. You saw it right there on the screen.
And
it's like a first time you've ever gotten a massage, like where you're like, you like it, but you also don't know how to feel about it, so you just grunt a confusion.
And you're fully clothed because you're like you don't want to get naked
You're
around
scared.
that massage person.
Massage envy tells you like only undress like the amount that we want to touch you, so you just don't.
what I find is interesting
Keep my
is
coat on.
Okay,
You're like, it's my parka.
what I find is interesting is, yes, he rips it off because he's like just kind of just overwhelmed by it, right? But once the explanation has been given of like this is what it is and stuff like that, you know, any normal man would just be like, all right, let's get it back on. Let's keep going.
Well,
right?
this is also the scene where I was like, oh, they erased gays in the future. Like, if you, everyone else in the audience is like, what are gay people? Like,
Nah,
No,
they got
but
Otho
continue.
there.
No, it's very much. It's like
They got Otho.
yeah, they do have Otho.
Otho and his,
Which even like the person in front of me was like, "Oh, hey, Otho," and I was like, "See, we only know him
Seriously.
as Otho."
He calls himself Associate
He's also
Bob.
the mayor in Nightmare Before
He's
Christmas.
like he calls himself
Oh, he
Associate
is the-
Bob.
I can't
He
do
has
this
that
on my own.
He has that terrible fade. I don't know who cut his hair. It's like a rectangle over his ear.
Everybody has a terrible.
It was
fate.
actually a mistake on like the hair department's part, but they were like, "Go with it, future."
It's the future.
Yeah. Someone sneezed while like holding the level like 1 clippers to his head. They're like, "Oh."
And then he's carrying around that waffle iron as a suitcase.
Yep.
I was just like, is he making waffles? Chicken waffles?
No, but it's just like it's so straight centric to where it was like we only procreate if we need to like make babies, and even then we just like go through this and like
Yeah, she
You have to
she
have a
mentions
license.
we
Like,
genetically
you have to have a
make
license.
sure that they're okay and stuff like that, and you
It's
know that they're.
all-
But this is-
yeah.
It's
You're
all
right.
straight people in the future.
This is
even though
another
This is
Otho's
one-
there.
Cocteau's world, baby.
That thing that
Yeah,
she
it is a
mentions
Cocteau world.
about like, oh yeah, we're not allowed to like procreate unless
It's
like, they
like,
say it. It's like
hello.
this is another
They can't even
moment in this
touch.
movie that makes me go, this movie wants to be a Paul Verhoeven movie so bad.
Also-
it wants to be RoboCop and Starship Troopers all at the same time. So fucking bad that
But
it's just like
you can tell.
ugh.
You can tell this movie was made by white people because they were like things that are bad, and they like list off things that are like normally bad, and then they're like and spicy
food.
to where it's like oh, it's all white people. They're like jalapenos. No,
I agree.
we can't eat those. Pico de gallo. That's risky.
Mayonnaise is the only condiment we
Yeah.
allowed.
So she kicks him out because he tries to forcibly force himself on her.
Yeah, real Death Stalker moment there. Our hero becomes like a
He's like,
rapist.
"I'm
out of
trying to
nowhere."
kiss
Nice
you.
drop, Death Stalker.
He's using his old Rocky moves on Adrian.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what that was.
You're Asian.
And he goes into his own room. And why is everybody in the future watching television like movies are only filmed on an iPhone?
Yeah. When you click a video on Facebook and you expect it to be good and it's filmed in like portrait mode and you're like, fuck, I'm not going to watch this now. That's exactly what it is.
Like,
Everything is filmed portrait mode. Like,
And it might be the same video
But
but
also-
blurred on both sides.
In the future, when you're not supposed to have like any shame showing, and she's just like, "Hey, calm with my boobs out." Oh, wrong number. Like,
I was like, who's Martin?
What kind of movie is this?
Why does Martin get topless phone calls?
Yeah.
I'm just like,
yeah, if nobody's having sex,
why are her boobs?
We still on visual sex, maybe, so she wanted to tease him for later
I
when
guess.
she puts
Even-
the helmet
what if she
on.
was
But
like,
that's
call-
that's sexy.
She's trying to call her like her
Like
GBF,
water wings.
her
it's
gay
called,
best
it's
friend.
called a fiber opt. It's like,
Oh, let me
there's-
fiber up you.
yeah.
There's
Just
FaceTime is
call
fiber
me.
opt.
But that was another scene that like
Oh, he's trying to do something with his fibers.
maybe made me like think
Thank you.
again about like the movie making process of this movie, and is again like a guy on a coke binge just kicked the door and was like, oh shit, that's right, this movie's rated R, we could put boobs in it, and was just like, do it. There you go.
What does she FaceTime with her tits out? Is that? Are we into that?
Steve Jobs saw this movie and was like,
It's the future.
Look at like Jonathan right now. He's
Guys,
like,
the
"Yeah,
other night,
boobs, go for it."
I got one of those video cams, and I was AOL chatting. There was boobs. Can we put that in a movie?
genius.
Yeah. No, you're not right. It's just out of nowhere, and even he's taking it like, huh.
But also, it's one of those things that like just doesn't come back, and we don't have to care about it ever.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Next scene.
Yeah, I mean, so after this, Stallone figures it out. He confronts Cocteau in a weird line, like he keeps doing lines that you think are going to be like memorable or something, and they just fall flat, you know? So this one's like, he's like, be well, and he's like, be fucked. And you're like, that's not going to catch on. I'm not going to remember that. It's not the yippee-ki-yay of Demolition Man.
I love like the future where he's in charge, where it's like, oh, be fucked. See you later. Like that's their goodbye. It's like, oh, okay, pretty aggressive.
And notice that he shot out all those screens, and then they're repaired the next time that they go back to his office.
Yeah, really weird.
At the end.
Hey, technology in the future, man.
But I
It's
really
crazy.
like how it's revealed that he's like FaceTiming him from like the next room over? Like,
Apparently-
real sneaky of you, dude.
Apparently, he can't discern the sound of his voice in the room from the screens. He had to have Otho kind of do the thing. And
Also,
then
he only-
he's
like,
right there.
"Oh,
I'm
no."
gonna point a gun at him.
Yeah, and he has tunnel vision all the time, apparently, because he didn't see Sylvester Stallone just walk up on him and put a gun against his head. And he's like, "Whoa!"
Well, because everybody's face is framed like this, like it's just your
Oh, do you like-
eyeballs and your nose.
Oh, it's like one of those old timey like put a penny and watch the movie thing. You have to shove your whole face in it in order for you to like be
I just like the
projected
people
out.
they filmed for this movie to where they were like, all right, now just look at the camera and go like, yes, I agree. Oh, interesting point. Of course. Like, that's all they had to do for these scenes.
So, I mean, the movie just keeps going on, and I mean,
Ain't that
we're
the
As all
truth.
movies do.
right. And they go down in the sewer. They meet.
No. Okay, so that's where a big plot hole comes to me.
Mhm.
So they're
it's
in.
pronounced pothole.
Oh yeah. Sorry. No. It's they're in downtown L.A. They go down a ladder.
to downtown LA.
And I was gonna say East LA, but yes, you beat me to it.
Seriously?
Well, it's funny because what's his butt opens it up by opening up like 2 latches on one side, 2 latches on the other. But then
Yeah, like
Sylvester
it's
Stallone's just
sealed.
like, open. I'm like, whoa, okay, he took the fast route.
Well, that's the weird part. They're sealing the sewers, so like these poor people are like kind of locked down there, like unless they find like their own ways to get
They
out.
have their
right?
routes.
And so he goes down there. Wesley Snipes is down there as well. They do the rat burger scene.
Okay,
that's
Frida
fun.
Kahlo.
Yeah, that's
What
a
is she
weird
doing
little.
here?
Yeah, that whole scene was like a
But
mishmash
also
of like
a little bit like
all of a sudden like Peruvian, Bolivian, Mexican, and like everybody in between just like, hey, okay, let's go make rat burgers on the ground.
but like, why you gotta make
Also,
her
like-
ugly?
also,
what
like-
did she do to you to where it's like give her a unibrow and like make her sound terrible?
Wow,
She's a human.
Coco ripping off the Frida Kahlo cameo in Demolition Man. I mean, shit.
No, I say this was a pretty LA movie because I mean, this is the only beer you could have. It looked like a straight out brewery that you want to go to or something like that. You know,
I would love to go to. I would love to go
rat
to a
burgers and
brewery
beer.
in the Super Mario Brothers set. It would be awesome.
Yes, exactly.
I just love that Sylvester Stallone's like, bro, we gotta get out of here. And next scene, he's like, well, I am hungry.
And is this weird? Anybody else think it's really weird that the scraps are also like classic car collectors? Why is there a classic car just in the middle of nowhere?
Entirely untouched. Like the paint's like, ooh,
Yeah,
we just
no
got
dust.
touched up. Like
Nothing.
Not a thing. And so they use
just
that.
got detailed.
I know, right? And they use
One collector like in the down, like underground, like, oh, I just gotta keep it nice. I want to wax on.
I guess it's
And
weird.
upstairs is like, hello, and he's like, yeah, that's how you wax on shit. Why do they keep doing this?
And so they use that car to go up an elevator and do a really cool chase scene, right? I really enjoyed this
How
one.
convenient is that
The
freight
elevator?
elevator?
Yeah, well,
Where that freight
happens to
elevator
come up
comes.
in an auto
okay,
store.
which it's an Oldsmobile.
That's a dealership. Sorry.
Right. So almost as if like that elevator is like a collector of maybe from upstairs. 'Cause-
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
I just think they wanted to show a car just bust through a dealership with a
Yeah.
bunch of people in it.
I think they just needed to give John Spartan a car.
Well, Oldsmobile needed their sponsorship, and they were like, "Oh, you want a sponsorship? We gave all our money to Taco Bell, so fuck you." And so they chase him. He gets away. John Spartan crashes through the SAPD and survives via the.
Why did only the
The
A
foam.
survive?
I don't know. That's because he didn't crash through it.
Yeah, I know, but like he also didn't crash through the S.
Oh, and also, so during this chase scene,
They're like the A just didn't explode. Sorry.
the music goes from like this like.
No,
so you got
this is when the music changes.
It gets
from
really
like,
Danny Elfman out
yes,
of nowhere.
exactly. I was
Music's
like, it turns into like
It's like-
for the rest of the movie.
yeah, every time
Like,
someone shows up, it's just this like
it
goofy
starts
ass
in
music.
the fight in the basement. It turns into like
Yeah.
Danny Elfman, like weird trumpet, like funny, goofy, but action. Like it felt like
It's Oompa music.
Well, from when they go underground on, the movie turns into like the Batman version of Tim Burton, or the Tim Burton version of Batman. Like, and that's what it was trying to be after that.
Works for
it's
me.
Like
Otho's in this movie.
Well, no, it was, yeah, right. But it was like they switched directors halfway through because they were like, the first part wasn't working. Let's try a different thing.
To be fair, this is the director's first film and the
His
biggest
last?
film.
Oh.
Yeah, because after this it was Excess Baggage.
Wasn't he doing this?
What is that, like
and
a
the
baggage claim
Dinotopia
movie?
series.
This?
Oh, hell yeah.
Hold on a
We're
second,
both
but
perked up. We're like, dinosaurs.
Dinotopia.
this director was originally just doing music videos.
Yeah, and then continued
should've
doing that because
stayed
he's
with
done Kanye's Power, and that's about it.
You know,
right?
no
that
one
makes
man
sense
should
then.
have all that
With like
power. Thank you, James Timothy. Right back there, I heard him laugh. That's my
so-
brother.
the movie just kind of wraps up at this point because we know where we're going with like the biggest set piece that we built in the entire movie, the cryo prison.
Yeah.
Right. So Wesley Snipes wants to let everybody out that is also criminals there with the help of Otho.
So also Wesley Snipes throws like the high and holy man into the fire, which is actually for the rest of the movie just like a single rod blowing out gas that's been lit. But in this point, they're like, make it look like a different kind of fire.
Mm-hmm.
They throw him into it, and then I thought, like, when I was watching this for the first time, I was like, he's a robot, and Otho's actually in control.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually, like, would have made it better if they were like, he burned up in his metal. But no, it's a boring movie.
And they go to
For the entire movie, it was a boring movie. I said it.
Really? I love this film.
Cool. So this film has one admirer.
No, I know you love it too.
Oh, you
I love this
sat
movie.
here.
I mean, because do we
brother
need to
raised
go
his
over the
hand.
end here? Like he
Yeah.
just he fights him, he freezes him, he kicks his head off,
Just
and he
like-
asks where the 3 seashells are. Like I think we're good.
Well, the thing about that fight, one thing I did want to bring up is like he smashes that freeze pellet on the ground, and it is like fucking instant, except when it's coming for him. Because it's like,
It's like,
boom,
slow it down.
he's frozen, and he's like, and just gets out of the way.
Yeah. No.
Well, see, my thing with the freeze moment is he freezes it and everything's fine, and then he like kicks off Wesley Snipes' head, and Wesley Snipes' head bounces, and then on the second bounce shatters into 10,000 pieces. To where it's like, probably should have been on the first hit. Like
That would have been a super sweet shot.
Oh,
you ever
physics.
drop an ice cube?
yeah.
You're finding wet puddles all over your kitchen for the next day. Like it's
So
terrible.
then, so hold on, but then the conclusion of that, it's like, did he refreeze the entire cryocons, or are they like half frozen dudes like that are semi-awake and they're like
They're like,
frozen
"Kill
from
me."
They're like frozen from the bottom down. Do you need to put them in the microwave for an hour?
to die.
So one final thing about the logic of the frozen cons and the rehabilitation
There
that
is
didn't
none.
make any sense, right? Is and it comes from one line in the film in which basically she says, as she goes, "Oh, he's going to release all 80 of them, all unrehabilitated," right?
It's like
Which
there are, like,
means
7 already released, is what the computer says, right?
right. And but the point I'm making here is that like so basically you're not rehabilitated until you're awakened, like within that final moment, right? So why aren't we just freezing people, immediately rehabilitating them, and then re-entering them into society? Because they're not really serving
Well, okay.
a life sentence by being frozen.
Well, this goes back to like at the start, or well, midway, I guess, where like the police chief is like, "I froze you once, we'll freeze you again," to where, and he's like, "You'll never come back," to where it's like, why are you even freezing them? If you're gonna freeze them for their entire life,
It's not a punishment.
Murder them.
No, because it's like
Because,
instant.
well, no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the thing. It's like if you're just gonna stop them for the rest of their life, just to keep them in a block of ice where they can't do anything, they're better off being like killed and just burnt alive, and then the dust of their lives
not
thrown
all
to the
of
wind.
them are sentenced
because
to
no,
life.
it'll just like it'll save space. Let's be real.
Nah,
Where it's
man.
like you don't keep a zip drive file of some movie you hated,
Right.
because
So
it made you mad,
I
you
mean,
just delete it.
I just wish we
Right.
had that kind of job security,
That's a
like
fact.
like
So-
that assistant warden. He started off with the assistant
Oh,
warden.
I thought you
and
meant job security towards like you get fired, but you get frozen a lot.
Nobody wants to do
then- No,
this.
but
job.
the assistant warden in the beginning is like, oh, I am the assistant warden, and then
And
he's
then
all
he
like,
Smithers.
36 years later,
Yeah.
I'm the warden.
Yeah.
I'm all like, damn, man,
God,
it's
it took him
like those pros and
36
cons.
years.
36 years.
You don't
He
really need a
sucks at his
warden. He's
job.
more of just like the.
He was like, they
stock boy.
hired in people right off the street before they hired me.
So, Tyler, would you recommend this movie?
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun enough.
Yeah.
Watch Gremlins 2 in the middle of it, then finish it, and then you'll really like it.
Would you recommend this movie?
Yes.
Okay, Jarrett.
God, it's like I want to say yes, but I also want to be like stipulations.
That-
Like if you want to watch a movie, but like you don't want to like watch a movie, like watch it. It's background. It's background. It's background.
I say this is, I recommend watching this movie because you haven't been marred by the expendable crap that came afterwards. I'll say it because this is like everybody's.
The first Expendable was okay.
It was okay because just out of the curiosity of it, the novelty that all of them get together on the screen. But it felt like
was
this,
a lot of hunky men, so
it
I
just
think
it
I
just
liked
felt
it.
like you're watching this in the back of your mind. It's like, oh, this is the Expendables rehearsal. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's the tryouts.
Was Snipes ever in Expendables?
I think
Anybody
he's in
know?
like the
Yeah,
Yeah?
third
they
one.
got him, and he even makes.
I didn't see that
they
third
got him.
one.
They
I
froze
gave
him
up.
and they put
And,
him in it.
he even makes a meta joke about it. That is
Oh.
all like, where were you? Because they want to explain his absence from the first one. Oh, they got me for jail. For what? Tax evasion. Which was real. He was one of the first
I
people
thought
to...
the joke was like, I was frozen.
No.
No,
No, it's for real.
Made a meta
He
joke
like
about this movie.
he,
You're
he
like,
like
made a
ran-
meta joke about
he,
life.
he evaded taxes and he ran to Africa.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
And the
Should
moment
all
he got
evade
back,
taxes.
they arrested him.
Yeah.
The IRS just got him.
So I would definitely recommend this movie. I love this movie. That's why I picked it. I hope you all enjoyed it. So thank you.
Wait, really quick. I just need to say this really quick. Jonathan, when I was about to watch this movie because I'd never seen it before, said something to me that upon my first watch, I was so creeped out by the implications that I
you're
had
gonna bring
such a
this
tough
up?
time. Jonathan tells me with no doubt in his face whatsoever, he says, "Oh yeah, Sandra Bullock's definitely his daughter." So then the entire movie, when they're like about to bone, I was just sitting there just like,
Oh, like
God.
the movie sets it up for like you're gonna fuck your daughter.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck your daughter.
I was hoping that she would have sex with him and then look it up. And a very old boy
And be like,
situation.
Oh, gross. That's gross.
Yeah.
Right? They
Right?
don't
You are
prove
right.
She's not.
Right? She's the only one that loves the same stuff that he loves in this world.
Yeah.
Like, there's no... it's just not... It's ambiguous, and it kind of needs to be clear.
Yeah.
So I still say, yeah, that's definitely his daughter.
Oh, it's
nice.
for me. It's like 80% his daughter.
That's
What's your
gross.
percentage?
No.
None.
It's a
you have
no.
0%.
No.
100% because it makes the movie that much
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Because that end scene,
Yeah.
So it's his daughter. We voted it. It's into existence.
Okay, real
One.
quick. Jaws ratings?
2.
Jaws 2?
2.
2.
Yeah. Jaws 2 for me as well.
Okay.
It's not a masterpiece, but it's pretty damn good.
It was close.
So
but
we need to wrap up the show here, and we wrap it up like we always do. We had an opinion about this film, but some people thought that it was a 5-star film. We asked those people to give us 5. Here it goes, ladies and gentlemen. October 25th of 2005, written by Dan Nanan.
that says the 31st.
Thanks.
You couldn't read 2 numbers.
I was trying to just make it seem like I didn't stumble over something. Thanks for being an asshole.
That's
on
what
with it.
I'm
Because
here
the
for.
date didn't really
literally.
matter. Thanks.
Give me the review.
This titled one of the most underrated films ever. This film is phenomenal, funny, action-packed, and in some ways has almost proved prophetic. Check reference to Arnie Presidential Library, a terrifyingly possibility which is looking almost possible. Bear in mind that this movie was made well before Arnie was heavily involved in politics. Wesley Snipes is at his hottest in this movie. And as the evil Simon Phoenix, and Stallone is amazing as the troubled past gunslinger Spartan. When you factor in a cute and funny Sandra Bullock and Nigel Hawthorne as a fascist dictator, it is hard to see how this movie could ever have been any better. Also, the vision of the future provided is both insightful and believable. Ending is a bit corny and, quote, Hollywood, but really, I think that such a minor flaw is balanced out by the sheer entertainment value of the rest of the film. A brilliant sci-fi, much overlooked. 10 stars.
Damn.
So the car turning into cannoli, that's what did it for that person at the end.
Felt like a cannoli.
Yeah. Next one, written by Frederick Smith in 2012. Titled, "This has got to be one of the funniest action-adventure films ever released." This has got to be one of the funniest action-adventure films ever released.
Did he repeat it?
Yep. And the beauty of it all is the seriousness with which the actors play their roles.
Okay.
Stallone and Snipes are two 20th century macho types in an Orwellian society where everything is monitored and the police are almost superfluous. Bullock is a radical thinker bored with her perfect society. What? Did I mispronounce? Is that what happened? What did I say?
Superfluous.
Okay, superfluous.
They're super. They're
you know
fluid.
What? Did you hear all the fucking words in that sentence?
They don't want to be.
I got one wrong.
They don't want to be defined. They're fluid. All right, they're super fluid.
Just floating around in the ice block.
It's been so many years that I've dealt with you.
Bullock is radical thinker bored with her perfect society, and Leary is just trying to keep people alive. The people who decided they didn't want to be a part of the perfect society. Now, it is worth remembering this film was one of the first shameless product promotion films, with Taco Bell being featured in the film as the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars.
Because it promotes one product.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, shameless
Has
product
anybody
promotion.
seen Wayne's World, for goodness sake?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, man.
I mean, they do it as a joke, but like,
Anyone
still,
seen Mac and Me?
Yeah.
Literary dance sequence in McDonald's.
It's the first shameless product promotion in films, with Taco Bell being featured as the film is the only franchise to survive the franchise wars. Whatever those were, I would classify it as a pre-comic movie with all the trimmings, bad guys and good guys, technical oddities, and a lot of great lines. Worth seeing, PG-13, because a few lines here and there were a couple of brief shots of nudity. Collectible, if you like Stallone.
Lines aren't nudity.
I know.
Like a brief lines of nudity.
Oh, it says a brief lines, and there's a couple brief shots of nudity.
Nope, that was me mishearing.
So, collectible if you like Stallone, otherwise rent it and return it.
How many
Would
stars
hope
was
so.
that?
That was 10 stars. Yep.
Rented.
It sucked, but anyway, 10 stars. Take
Yeah,
it
but I
back
mean-
to Redbox.
Also, like rented.
I don't know how to select any other stars than 10.
physically rented where? Redbox doesn't carry this, man.
No, this is like the height of like DVD Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one. This is a 1 star out of 10.
Hell yeah.
Written November 2002.
And they should have been up on this
Quote,
page.
"Leave your brain at the door." The script for this movie is so bad, it's terrifying. The corny high fives place this movie right into the bad B-movie category and is the reason why Stallone's movie career ended. Oh, it's painful. Even watching Snipes is painful. The dialogue is awful, makes little sense or logic, has zero in the way of originality, and is just another, quote, bad guy escapes and hero needs to be brought in to save the day film. This isn't really sci-fi, just a bad flick. Not even worth a rental. 1 star.
Damn.
Angry.
That's a
They're like,
bit
I
much.
picked the wrong Redbox on accident.
Yep.
Whoops.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. No, we went very long tonight, but it very important night for us here as well. We do have an announcement for the show.
Oh.
Do you want to do it, or should I? Okay. Well, you're a man of little words, and I feel like we need a little bit more.
Big words. No, this is my second to last live show as I am leaving the podcast. So,
Yes.
I got better things to do.
Damn.
Just
man.
kidding. It's online school.
No,
Graduate degree.
you will be so missed. It's been an amazing year and a half worth of episodes.
I know. It was touching. It was good.
I know.
I hated so many moments of it. No, and I
Like
will
right
be back
now.
for a lot of live shows. I will be back. There are a lot of shows that's like, also don't do this one without me. Also, you can't finish this without me.
Yep. Like 50
don't
Shades
forget,
of Grey.
yeah. No, you cannot finish 50
I will not.
Shades.
I will not. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you will be missed, and it was extremely
I will be
hard.
here for Deep Blue Sea, though. 'Cause
Yes.
that is a classic in our family. We've seen it 3 times at most, James. That's my brother.
It was
Again.
extremely hard to make a decision as to who might be able to take your seat, and
You couldn't put just one butt in this seat.
I couldn't. So, actually, I chose 2. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 2 new co-hosts of Bombs Away. Please welcome them to the show.
Sorry.
I mean, when you set it up like that, you needed 2 guys to do one guy's job.
Hey, when you
Damn,
got a
man.
butt that takes this much,
We're not good at improv.
thanks to the one person that laughed at my butt joke.
No, I am extremely honored to bring you guys on. I wanted to do this as a very nice way to transition into the show and introduce you to our audience. And I thought this was the best way to do it and then to announce it to you guys first as the public. Nobody who listens to the show on a regular basis knows until this episode comes out. So,
Unless
thank
you work
you.
with us, we told all of our coworkers. Today, someone was like, "Wait, aren't you trying to keep that a secret?" And I was like, "Everyone knows." Like,
So
it's my phone. Give it
thank you.
back.
Thank you for joining us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you had a good time, let me hear you make some noise. Thank you. Deep Blue Sea, January 19th. Remember, they're $10 tickets at the door tonight only, okay? It'll be 10 at the register tonight, 15 at the door.
Yep.
It will be completely interactive, waterworks, and I swear it will not go on this long. Deep Blue Sea is an hour and a half tops. So thank you for staying with us tonight. I know it's been a long one. We'll definitely make sure that we take care of the next one, okay?
And also, for the entire month of January, if you listen to the podcast, it is a month that I picked myself, so we've got some great ones coming up. Our first one featuring both Vicente and Tyler is actually The Haunted Mansion.
Terrible movie.
Disney's 2003 classic.
Just terrible.
So if you're excited for that, tune in to our second week of January, because January actually has a good amount of weeks in it, but they will be featured on it, and
There's
it
at
is
least
one
a
of our
couple.
longest episodes, which is kind of amazing, because we have had a few episodes with 4 people on it, but having 4 people on it that actually do care a lot about movies, and also tied into that, care a lot about the place that we come from. We all do come from Disney, sorry. But
Yes.
it was a really fun episode. It's nice, so I'm excited to be passing on the torch with people that I care about, I have fun with.
Aww.
So yeah. So listen to our Jarrett January, as I've called it, and I'm also going to just monopolize on that situation and come back for every January because I love myself.
Awesome. Well, thank
also,
you.
I want to
Yes.
say, guys, check out the lobby. We have merchandise. Everything that's
Look at
we're
him already doing his job.
Hey, I'm here to do my
He's
job.
already doing better than me.
Don't forget, if you want memorabilia from past shows, today's show, and the future we'll have them all featured outside. And just ask us. We have shirts, pins, and all sorts of little knickknacks that, you think about. You're like, well, I could have those 3 shells in, my own bathroom and stuff like that and have an interesting story,
Yes.
Yes, those are
Acme, made by
beautiful.
James.
Thank
and
you,
Custom
James.
made.
There's
Nowhere in the
there's
world
definitely more
else.
on the horizon for those. So those are completely custom molded, correct, sir? And so they are hand painted, hand molded, and sculpted, and so each one is unique. So when you're taking home that artifact, you're taking home something that was specifically made for this event and made with love and care. So that's something very special. Yeah, it says Bombs Away. So you're also supporting the show. We've taken enough of your time, ladies and gentlemen. One more round of applause for up here for my guests and now our new hosts. Round of applause for Jared for all the hard work he's done for the past year and a half.
I haven't done a lot of
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next month at Deep Blue Sea. Have a good night.
Woo! Good night.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?